Arsenal have reportedly agreed personal terms with Benjamin Šeško, with talks between RB Leipzig and Arsenal advancing, and a big update from Fabrizio in relation to Arsenal's connection with Victor Gyökeres. Plus, reports here in England, although in Germany they have claimed that the deal for Wirtz and Liverpool, it should be considered done. This afternoon, it's been revealed a new bid from Liverpool has been rejected. We're going to delve into these stories. We're going to take your opinions. Of course, I'm going to give you mine, but get the like button hit. Make sure you're subscribing. Let's do this. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Football Terrace. Do me a big favor and get like buttons hit. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you've got the bell notification buttons turned on as well. Big story to jump into this afternoon. And I want to start with Arsenal. Two big updates here that you can see from Fabrizio Romano and Plattenberg. First of all, with Fabrizio, who says that Arsenal are focused on Benjamin Šeško. Discussions are advancing for Šeško. The other name on the list, Victor Gyokeres, at the moment, that situation is not developing. And that's an interesting update because lots of us have been asking and kind of deliberating over whether or not they're working on both. Are they still waiting on a Gyokeres decision? But according to Fabrizio, and again, depends on how serious you take his analysis and his inside information, but currently Gyokeres to Arsenal isn't developing. We've got a Mark Goldbridge update for you on that as well a bit later. Plattenberg also says that Arsenal and RB Leipzig have already scheduled their next round of talks in relation to Šeško, with a positive feeling around a possible deal. Leipzig value Šeško between 80 to 100 million euros. Now, this is all positive around the deal between the two clubs and the progression of that. But what of the personal terms? Have they got the full go-ahead from the player? Well, my understanding all along, having spoke to a number of different journalists about that Benjamin Šeško has always been open to the idea of Arsenal, says yes to them in the past, and this should be a formality. Now, a source that some people take seriously, not everybody else does, but the Purple Panel, who, by the way, got all the details about Ait-Nouri and all the details about Shirky to Man City before anybody else, have stated that Arsenal and Benjamin Šeško have come to an agreement over personal terms. That is their claim, that it's done. The personal terms are no issue. The player wants to become an Arsenal player. Now, of course, everyone's sources are sources. You may see them one way, others might see them another, but that claim is there. It backs up a lot of what the likes of Ben Jacobs and co have said, that the personal terms should not be an issue. It should be something that Leipzig and Arsenal can get agreed pretty quickly if it hasn't been done in principle or a verbal agreement already. The fact that the clubs are in concrete talks, are in solid negotiations, are progressing the deal is generally a sign that the deal is very close to completion. Typically in the footballing world, the personal terms, the player and the club's negotiations happen and are finalized verbally ever before the two clubs come to an agreement or an official bid is made. Similar to what you've seen with United with Cunha and with Brian Mbeumo so far this summer. Equally the same with City and Liverpool's dealings. You get the player onside first, and then you make that move. So this is really, really positive news for Arsenal fans who want Šeško. If you're not a Šeško fan, maybe you're viewing this a little bit differently. But that's the big updates that have come out this afternoon in relation to this deal. And maybe the most significant element, aside from the personal terms, is what Fabrizio said, that everything to do with Gyokeres is currently not moving forward. We look at his words again. The situation is not developing with Victor Gyokeres. And for me, this is just personally, and maybe I'm biased here because I'm a Manchester United fan. Maybe I'm biased here because I want Gyokeres at my football club. But this appears to be fairly significant indeed. Fairly significant information indeed that they're not currently, Arsenal, working on that deal. That would lead you to believe all their eggs are currently and firmly in that Šeško basket. What does that mean for Viktor Gyökeres? Well, the man himself, Mark Goldbridge, put out a very interesting tweet earlier on today saying that based on what he has seen, he'd be very surprised if Manchester United do not land Viktor Gyökeres. And I hope that's true. There are a few outlets, including the Sun newspaper, who are trying my best to not report on, if I'm being honest. They are claiming that Man United are very close to getting that deal over the line. So, look, I hope that's true. Arsenal getting a very, very good player indeed. Man United hopefully getting a top striker as well. But as ever, look, I want your views. I want your opinions on these stories that have come through today. I really, really do. Let's go to some of your comments here. This says, understand Viktor Gyökeres is now the priority at Manchester United this summer after missing out on the main target, Liam Delap. The Reds will now focus on Gyökeres. Now, listen, I hope that is true. This is, as you guys genuinely think us Arsenal fans care what you have to say about our club. People need to remember Arsenal's levels ahead of any team. Just, where's that gone? It's disappeared. Just not Liverpool and City's. Thank you, Rico. Ekitike also to Chelsea is just a matter of time. Well, that one's progressing as well. And what I'm intrigued to see is what Liverpool do here. That's the element that I'm focused on because Chelsea have got themselves a 9. And they may, as you can see on the screen right now, in Delap, they're also looking at Ekitike. Gittins looks like it's going to happen. Arsenal now, terms agreed according to the purple panel, progressing the deal for Šeško. Are United as close as it's being made out to getting Gyökeres? Because there is talk that Liverpool still want number 9. What are they going to do? Are they going to kind of come in now and try and swoop one of these players away from us? Equally, we're going to get onto Wirtz in a minute. They're having some difficulties according to TalkSport on that, but I've got a theory relating to that as well. We'll get to. Anthony here says Šeško at Arsenal will get 20 plus goals in our system next season, plus 10 assists. 30 GA sounds good to me. Are you talking about in the league? I mean, if he gets 30 GA in the league, that is a decent return indeed. Personal terms, isn't that tapping up? No, because you speak via an intermediary. So you're not doing... The rules basically state that an official from a club, say in this case Arsenal, can't officially sit down with the player. But there's nothing wrong with an intermediary sitting down with another intermediary saying, I've heard a rumor that if Arsenal might be offering that guy, Benjamin, 220 grand a week. And then the intermediary says, you know what? I reckon Šeško would accept that. If he was to be offered it, I think there's a possibility he could accept and push for a move. There is no tapping up in that, my friend. There is no tapping up in that at all. It is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you, Anthony, for encouraging everybody to get the like button smashed on this show. If you could do that, that would be amazing. Okay, so personal terms agreed. That is an important step. A very important step. Now, they may have already been agreed, but it's only just now being reported on. But I think it's a very, very important and pivotal step to get it over the line. And I do feel what Arsenal fans also need is clarity. This sort of, I get the approach from Arsenal and Barada. Let's cast the net wide and far. But at the same time, who are we getting? Now I'm talking like I'm an Arsenal fan. Who are we getting? Is it Šeško or Gyökeres? Who are we going for here? Are we really going to go all in for Rodrigo, or are we going to go and get Williams? If we're not going to get Williams, who's that option going to be? Can we start to hone in on that? Now, the one thing I would say about that train of thought, and I do think Arsenal fans want a bit more specificity. One of the elements I would say to this is we are only on the 8th of June. And not all deals for all clubs can be done by the 8th of June. Some are going to slow down. Some are going to speed up. Some players are about to go and embark on a club World Cup. Others are about to finish international duty and go on holiday for a few weeks and often don't even want to agree anything, don't want to listen to their agents, just want to veg out on a beach, spend time with their family. So don't expect everything to be done, but a little bit more specificity, I think, is key. Why are Arsenal going for a younger striker when they could have got Gyökeres, who is really good and experienced? Look, I agree. Now, what the sort of on this debate, I would have gone for 1 second. I would have gone for Gyökeres if I was in Arsenal's position, but that's my personal opinion. What I would say is this: Šeško is not a bad player. Šeško is a very, very talented football player. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Highly talented. There's a risk with every transfer. There's a risk with Liverpool progressing towards paying a British transfer fee, a record fee for Wirtz, who's young, never played football outside of Germany. He's going to have all the pressure of joining the defending champions as the most expensive player and one of the highest paid players in Liverpool and the Premier League football history. There's pressure that comes with that because he's established in the sense of we know who he is. We've seen him deliver to a very high level, but he is still young. There's also a risk of signing someone like a Viktor Gyökeres. And as a United fan, if I put my subjectivity aside, I rate the player. I think he'll be a hit here. There's also the chance that he comes here and the pace of the game, the speed of the game, means he doesn't score as many goals. There's the possibility that a Šeško takes to life in the Premier League in a much better, more physical side than Leipzig and goes to another level and scores 25 goals next season. There's a chance that Gyökeres goes slightly in the other direction. And there is a risk. And I think that risk exists. What I will say is all of us, all of it, when you're guessing, and we all guess to a certain degree, and you could call it an educated guess. We review players, we watch them play in the leagues they're in, and we guess. I think player X will make it here. I think player Y won't make it here. In reality, that's all on paper, and we have to see that we have to kind of wait and see. At the same time, Berta is a highly accredited, well-versed, respected sporting director. The talk coming out, the narrative coming out of Arsenal is this isn't Arteta getting his way. Berta's fuming. Berta's angry. He thinks the club are going down the wrong path. It's very much a case of we've got two great options. Whichever one we go for is going to improve Arsenal, but we're only going for one. That's the element of this as well. So, look, this is the nature of the beast. If Gyökeres ends up in the Premier League and scores more goals than Šeško, especially if he's at Man United, there'll be some Arsenal fans that are angry. Only if Arsenal are not winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. If next season Šeško scores 15 league goals, Gyökeres scores 30, but Man United finish fourth and Arsenal win the league, there's not going to be an Arsenal fan on God's green earth that's caring too much. So, look, I get the challenge. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on this. I think it's a great conversation and debate, and I can't wait to hear from you all on this in our comments section below. Terry, what are the bookies saying regarding Gyökeres at this moment? The last time I checked, we can actually search that now. Let's take a little look at the current odds. Man United are currently... It's mad, the odds now. Man United are now currently the odds-on favourite. So the odds have changed. So Man United 2 weeks ago were 10-1, which meant for every pound you bet, you would win 10 back, plus your stake. So you win £11. That has now gone to Man United being 5-2 on. Now, what 5-2 means is you have to risk £5 just to win 2. So your odds on, the odds are really low. Arsenal have gone from being the odds on favourites to now being a spread between 5-1 and 8-1. So United right now are the clear favourites by a country mile. That is reflective on what the betting patterns are saying. So that's people, and they won't just be Man United fans. That's fans of all clubs that enjoy a nice, sensible, respectable flutter. They are pushing that as it stands right now. So listen, for me, I hope that the betting public are right and we do land him. Abs here says, Terry, I would take Gyökeres in a heartbeat. We need a number 9. Gyökeres is not getting any younger. I hear you on that one. Terry, we had no one score 10 goals in the league for us at this moment in time. There are many players who can come in and do a job for Arsenal and get more than 10 goals next season. I agree with you. I agree with you massively on that. I really, really do. It's an update from no, I thought it was an update from Ornstein there. It's not. Zubimendi deal is in doubt. I've seen no credible sources say the deal's in doubt. I've seen Arsenal fans worry. I've seen rival fans speculate, but I have not seen a single piece of credible evidence that suggests or is stated in any single which way that that deal is in any jeopardy whatsoever. So until I can't, we report on trending news. I can't report on trending news that hasn't even been published. I haven't seen a journalist. I've seen opinion pieces say, could this cryptic interview mean? But that isn't the same as a journalist stating, I've had a conversation with my sources and Zubimendi is thinking of changing his mind. I've had a conversation with my sources and Real Madrid are going to break the bank. Until those stories emerge, I can't talk about them. You can give the opinion and we can speak on that. But there we go. Andrea Berta should be in charge of the transfers. He is. He is in charge. He has a lot to do with it. He has a lot to say. And he agrees with going after Šeško as well. There is an agreement between them. Again, if anything ever emerges to say this is a lie, we'll talk about it. Some people may think it's a lie and you're entitled to say it. But I've seen no credible evidence to suggest that right now Berta is frustrated because Arteta has got the power, is overruling him and going for substandard players. If that story comes out, we'll talk about it and we'll debate it. If a fan wants to phone in and give that opinion, I'll hear him out. But there is no credible evidence to suggest at this point that that is the case. Arsenal need at least 5 players to replace their outgoing players. In goal, Kepa. Midfielder, Zubimendi. Maybe Darun. Striker, Šeško. Left wing, Lookman or Williams. And look, Zubimendi is all tied up and agreed. Šeško is advancing. Backup goalkeeper is in. So you're kind of... You've got 2 that the here we goes have happened for. 1 that's very close. And then, of course, you're going to be working on those other deals. And there's still a couple of months before the league starts to get those done. So Arsenal are moving in the right direction. Zubimendi should not be signed. He's confused. I don't know if he is or not. I think he's just being respectful in the interviews that he's giving now. Terry, is Zubimendi going to happen? I can only base it on the news that's out there. And we're going to have Sami Mukbel, who broke the news, next Friday in the morning, 11 a.m. We'll be live on the Football Terrace, full show with him discussing it. So hopefully you guys can get your answers from him then. So we'll be able to delve into that. I'm going to come back to some more of your comments and take your calls later in the show in relation to this Šeško news this afternoon. But I also wanted to speak about the news that has emerged from TalkSport this afternoon. And that is that a free £113 million Florian Wirtz bid has been rejected. It says after turning down Liverpool's 109 million bid, Bayer Leverkusen have now rejected their latest 113 million offer. Leverkusen are holding out for 126 million, which would be a British record fee. That is the latest news that is coming out. It flies in the face of the news that we reported on Friday. Like we say, we'll listen to multiple sources and everyone can make their minds up that said it should be considered done. It's the complete and utter opposite news, essentially, to what was stated a few days ago. The likes of Sasha Tavolieri, the German press Blin, as an example, all stating that the deal, by and large, should be considered complete. So what do you think? I want to get your opinions first of all before I give you mine. I'd love to know what you're all thinking and feeling here. This year it says, wow, crazy news, so much greed in football. Tell them to shove it. I hear that view. I hear that view. They want too much money, is what Marlon says here. Wirtz overrated. Fab said 118. Look, I'm not. There'll be. What I would say is that we can nitpick over the exact amounts of money, but I think by and large they're all in the same, all in the same ballpark. I had 2 thoughts on this. My first was, Is this delayed news? Said this earlier on today about, I feel with all the news that Spurs are going to come back in for Mbeumo, I personally felt as though that was a little bit disrespectful to Tottenham fans. I felt as though you were taking news that's old. For instance, Spurs have been talking to Frank for a while. Don't believe the nonsense that they're briefing that Ange, they said goodbye to Ange and then started conversations. I think all the news about managers like the De Zerbis that have rejected them, I think that is old news. I think that's happened in weeks gone by. I think that Tottenham had conversations with Mbeumo. They told him about Frank coming. Frank told them, if I come, I'd like you to get Mbeumo. But I think the rejection has taken place. Similarly to this, I think this second bid, this 113 million, I believe this is old news. I believe Liverpool have already moved on to the third and final bid that should get the deal over the line. I believe what we're seeing is the delayed release of news. And there's a risk in doing that as a journalist, that you may get scooped. There's a risk in doing that as a publisher, because by the time you are about to, let's just release the second bid rejection details now and long out the process, you might get an Ornstein bomb or a Jacobs cracker that blows up the internet, and suddenly Liverpool fans won't care about this bid that was rejected. We see this sometimes. I remember seeing Simon Jordan interview, I don't know which newspaper it was, but it was over the stories about Mason Greenwood, not the stories about him and his partner, but the stories of him in the England camp. And they were saying that, and Simon Jordan was saying that when I was the owner of Crystal Palace, you guys would come to me with stories, bad stories about my players. But instead of publishing them, you would ask for an exclusive about a transfer or an exclusive face-to-face with a new player that was worth money for you, and then you'd bury the story. Sometimes you'd hang on to a story for the right time to release it, because if a player went for a bad time on the pitch, you could then release this story to compound it. But when you hold on to those stories, you sometimes, and I remember the journalist saying something along the lines of, yeah, and sometimes we hold on to stories and then the player does something so magnificent that there's no point releasing the bad story, or the bad story comes out for a different way, and then we've got an exclusive that suddenly becomes an also run. And I just got a gut feeling they're doing this to Liverpool right now. I don't think this is new news. I don't think this is this morning they've had a bid rejected. I think it was rejected days ago. But we're only now being given this information from TalkSport. You know? So for me, there's that side of it. The second part to it is Liverpool have already blown Man City out of the water for Wirtz. If this isn't old news and Leverkusen just keep pushing the price up, they keep pushing the envelope, why don't Liverpool, they've already had conversations, why don't Liverpool go in and try and now blow City out the water for Turkey? Why don't they test the water there by maybe speaking to Leon and say, we'll pay you 45 million. We'll pay you 50 million. By saying to Turkey, I know you've agreed terms with Man City, but let's revisit those personal terms. Let's see what they're paying you. Let's see what your bonuses look like. Let's see if we can do something to improve on it. Now, you can do that for one of two reasons, maybe both at the same time, really. One, you can do it to generally buy Turkey. They've shown interest in him before. They like him. He's on Liverpool's lists. You could also do it to make Leverkusen go, oh, shit, we might end up with nothing here if we're not careful. The player wants to leave. We could end up with a disgruntled player who hasn't had a move. So Liverpool maybe should try something along those lines if the news from today is brand new, if it is fresh. Because I think 113 million is more than enough for Wirtz. I think it's more than enough for him. I really do think it's more than enough, but I'd love to get your opinions on that, people. To go to some of your comments here, Liverpool are getting their pockets run, is what Shadow Moses says here. Let's have a look at some more of your comments here. Liverpool are getting rinsed. Darwin here says Wirtz is top class and they're all absolutely seething even before the deal has been agreed. And you're all seething before the deal is agreed. Paul here thinks 126 million is just crazy money. You get that for Isak. You get, sorry, where's that gone now? Where's that comment gone? You get that for Isak, and you're guaranteed to win the league. I hear you on that. I do. Alex here says 126 million is enough for Erik ten Hag to buy Onana, Mount, and Anthony. Very true. It doesn't matter that Liverpool are getting rinsed. They still destroy the overrated Gunners, is what D has got to say here. Liverpool inflated 80 million Caicedo done deal to 115. They will pay the money for Wirtz. Is that true? Did it work that way around? Interesting indeed. Interesting indeed. Let's have a little look here. 126 million for Wirtz is crazy. Flop incoming is what Ginger Bish says here. Do you think he will? Does anybody here think that Wirtz will flop in the Premier League and at Arsenal? I'd love to get your opinions on that. I'd love to get your opinions on that. Do you think he will flop in the Premier League? Truthfully, hand on heart, do you think that will happen? I need to know. I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued. Let's have a little look here at some of your comments that are coming in here. No flop is what PM says. Sean thinks that Cunha will do a better deal, will be a better deal. Adine says yes, he'll flop. Efro says flop. Dan says yes, yes. Samson says he may flop. Rango says big chance it will probably be 50-50. Daniel says yes, most Bundesliga players flop except for rare exceptions. So let me ask you all this question about him flopping. What for 100? Let's say it's 120 million. Okay, let's round it up. Let me make a note of this. I want to bookmark it. What does a flop look like? Describe what him being a flop looks like. And I'm not trying to catch you out. I'm just trying to understand it. We're going to open up the lines in a minute for you guys to phone in as well and have your say on the Arsenal stories we've mentioned and this bid for Wirtz reportedly being turned down. I want to get your reviews and I want to get your opinions on this in the comment section below. I'm very, very intrigued about it indeed. By the way, if you do want to become a member of the Football Terrace, we've got a brand new membership package available for you now. We're going to post the link into our live chat and we're going to pin that as well so you guys can go and check that out at your leisure. But I want to know what you think will make him a flop. I want to understand the breakdown of that. Anything under 15 goals. But what if he gets 14 goals but 20 assists and is integral in every game and they starts every game, they win the Premier League, starts every Champions League game and they win it, and he's brilliant. You got to, oh my God, big breaking news, people. Oh my days. What is this going to do to the transfer market? Breaking news here that Victor Osimehn has reportedly rejected Al-Hilal's 5th offer. He has decided not to move there, no matter the money offered. Case closed. That's the big one. That's still waiting for an update from that, from Orny, from Romano, or from Jacobs. But that's a real big update there if that is true. Massive update indeed. Wow. More on that to come on the show. For 120 million, you expect 30 to 40 goals. Anything less than probably average. For me, you've got to look at performances, not just stats. However, if he's not putting up a minimum of 35 GA, you've got to be doing that. There's got to be a 35 GA level to that kind of money. As an attacking midfielder, you've got to be scoring and assisting on that level every season. You've got to be in that ballpark. I think for 120 million, you've got to be in that Bruno Fernandes ilk of GA. You have to be. You have to be, in my opinion. You've got to be. I think what they mean is goal contributions. I mean, if we look at what he did in Germany the last couple of years, let's take a little look, people. It's always worth looking at what he's done. So this season, he had, again, that's what I'm saying it, 16 goals, 15 assists. So 31 GA. Season before that, it was 38 GA. So yeah, I'm putting that level. I'm saying there's got to be 30. You've got to be looking, again, if he gets 34 but has a brilliant season, I'm not going to nitpick, but he's got to be aiming for that 35 marker GA across all comps. And again, a lot of them have got to be Champions League, Premier League, and he's got to be consistent in his performances. That for me is a bare minimum at that money. Simply has to be a bare minimum at that money. He really, really does. Wirtz has got to hit the ground running. Same energy for Anthony. Anthony got 126 million. You have to produce. Wirtz is too lightweight for me. 25 GA minimum. Well, look, Anthony got, and rightfully so, a hell of a lot of pressure that went on his name. He wasn't even as good. But he was also purchased for 95 million euros. So 80 million pounds. You are talking about the potential of for 46 million pound difference in price. It's massive. It's a huge increase. Huge increase in price. So the pressure has to be there. The media probably won't put the pressure on in the same way, but there has to be pressure applied. There's no doubt. We'll be speaking to Hussam about that this week to get his views and his opinions on that, because I'm very, very intrigued to know what he thinks, like those, from an output perspective, what those minimums should be. 30 to 40 goals is unrealistic. 30 to 40 GA is not unrealistic. No, it's not. Absolutely not. This is a 22-year-old who's turning 23 next year, moving for 120 plus million pounds, expecting him to score or assist somewhere in the region of 35 goals across all comps. I don't think is unrealistic at all. For that kind of money, got to have that level of expectation upon him. Wirtz will hit the ground running. You have a team, you have the team Liverpool who will make it easy for him to adapt. This is the thing as well. He's going into the Champions of England. They're a well-oiled machine, fantastic manager, brilliant teammates. There has to be an expectation on him to. We can't do for Wirtz what we did for Grealish. It was horrible. Oh, it's okay. He's a vibe. There has to be the expectations. Because you all know, if Arsenal drops 70 million on Šeško, if Man United drops 60 million on Gyokeres, with Mbeumo and Cunha going to Man United, you know there's massive expectation on those players. Why would we not put that on a player costing 120 plus million? Why would we treat him any different? Why? What would the rationale for that be? I think 25 to 25 first season goal contributions is fine. By the way, where I would agree with you, Soph, is I'm saying, look, I'm not saying he's a complete flop year one if he only gets 25 goals and assists. It's the next year he might get 50 because he goes up another level. I won't be assessing. You might go first year, not good enough. You might say underwhelming first year. Doesn't mean he won't go on to be an amazing player. So it's not about writing him off year one, but there has to be an expectation upon him. There really does. Why are Liverpool not going for Isak if they have so much money? Because the player doesn't look like he's pushing to leave and Newcastle don't want to sell. It's why Manchester City have started to look elsewhere when it comes to the situation with Livramento, because they're not negotiating. And if they're not negotiating, there is very little that can be done, to resolve the matter. So that's it, really. Yes, I'm saying in all comps. Sorry, are you saying all comps? Yes, I'm saying in all comps, Lou. I'm saying in all comps, 35 GA. Not the Premier League. I'm saying I don't judge people just on what they do in the Premier League, because you don't just play in that competition at a singular time. So, yeah, if he comes in with 25 GA in the Prem, and then it's very likely he's going to get 10 across the rest of the competitions, right? So, and again, context. Let's say he doesn't get picked for the cup games and Liverpool rotate and they go out early. I won't hold that against Wirtz. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's always room to maneuver. Wirtz will cook. Terry, it was a misunderstanding earlier. It wasn't being serious, saying, why are you laughing? I put the lol after. Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe I misunderstood. By the way, I do think Wirtz is going to be a good signing. I don't think he's going to do bad. I don't think Wirtz is... nothing right now indicates to me he's going to be a flop. He may be one, but I'm not sitting here going, yeah, going to flop, rubbish player. It's not really how I'm assessing him. I think he could be and will be a very, very, very good player indeed for Liverpool. Terry, Chelsea have to get Osimehn. Listen, he's available now. If this news is true, that he is rejected going to Saudi, teams have got to be all over him. And I love that he's done it, you know. I love that he's rejected it. Do you know why I love that he's rejected it? Because the thing about Osimhen that was bothering me, I think he's a talented player. And I don't want to speak down about the Saudi League, but you go there at 25, 26, you could become their record goal scorer, win the league every year. I don't think you have any legacy in football. I don't even think people are going to remember you. Genuinely. I don't think people will remember you in the game. There's so many talented players that went out to China 6-7 years ago. We haven't mentioned their names since the day they left. Not one of them has had their name mentioned. And some of them, like Oscar, are really good. Oscar could have had... He already was a Champions League winner. Excellent player for Chelsea. He could have gone to lots of clubs in Europe, had a brilliant European career, and had a legacy in the game. But instead, none of us know a thing about him anymore. So for me, I'm glad Osimhen's done it. I hope he finds a club. I hope he kills it. I hope he delivers against his promise, because he's a fantastic player and the money is amazing. And by the way, that money might be available again in 4 or 5, 6 years' time, you know. But I'm glad a lot of players are actually looking at this and saying to themselves, as much as it's life-changing money, I'm already a millionaire. I'm going to earn millions more here, but I want a legacy in the game. I really love the fact that there's so many players now out there doing that, you know. I love it. I really do love it. I think it's the right thing for them to be doing. I know the Saudi League is trying to up its levels, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way to them. And again, if the Saudi League doesn't try and build itself up, then there'll never be any sort of legacy connected to that league. However, there's this element of if a player goes now and at this point in their career, I think it's not... I don't even want to use the word damaging. I just don't think it's going to help them. So yeah, I'm glad he stayed. I'm not going to beat about the bush. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's not my intention at all, but it's the nature of the beast, really, when it comes to that. Oh, by the way, people, remember tomorrow morning, 10:30, we're live for Straight Facts. So I want to see you all there tomorrow morning. Very much looking forward to that. Talking to you all there. We're going to share the link if you guys want to phone in, if you want to have your say on these subjects that we are discussing today. Where is the link? There it is. I'm just going to get that posted into the live chat for you all now. That has just been posted. I'm going to pin it into the live chat as well. So that way, if you guys want to phone in, I'd love to hear from you on these talking points today. Terry, would you take... That's disappeared now. Livramento will cost Man City 75 to 80 million. I believe that's the only price Newcastle will accept. No, I agree, Soph, and I just don't think they're willing to pay that. Why do some fans forget so easily? Odegaard had 2 superb seasons, just 1 bad season because of injury. Then someone is calling him a fraud or a flop. It's gross. Yeah, look, I think this season was a hard one for Arsenal. They saw City fall off. They saw that as their opportunity. They didn't grasp it. They didn't win anything. And I think a lot of players have kind of bared the brunt of that. I don't think Odegaard's a bad football player. I think what Arsenal need, though, in that central area is someone that's better with the output. They need a bigger output player in those areas. Output is so important for attacking roles. It really, really is. Bellingham off to Dortmund. The brother has gone there. 33 million fee plus 5 million add-ons. Fair play. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. I hope he does as well as his brother did. I'm just glad Liverpool are moving like a big club. And that's also part of it as well. Do you know what, Steve? Because I've had this with Man United in the last few days where people sit there and they're like, Terry, you're only signing players because you're paying them a big wage. And it's been well documented today. United have offered Mbeumo £150,000 a week. It could rise to 200,000 if personal and team achievements are made. So it's an incentive-based salary. It's one of the best forwards in the league. It's one of the best wingers in the league. One of the best attackers in the league. And by default, then it makes him one of the best in Europe. And he had 3 Champions League teams fighting for him. And the second most valuable football club in the world wants him to be one of the people spearheading a rebuild. So he's worth that money. If your club can only offer 100,000, that's not a flex. It's kind of weird what we have seen kind of created in football recently. Again, say recently, the last few weeks, this idea that this sort of idea that suddenly, like, it's inappropriate to offer players the adequate wage for their quality. The fact that it's kind of being weaponized as a criticism against the bigger sides, I find it intellectually dishonest and oddly a kind of counterintuitive flex. It doesn't even really make sense. I used to say that to a lot of my Arsenal friends when I was younger. That used to kind of celebrate having a good net spend. Not that net spend was real. It's like, bro, the big teams that have good net spend, it's because they lose their best players or they don't invest enough money to win. What are you celebrating? It didn't make any sense. And I feel the same about this. I'm not laughing at Liverpool having a bid rejected and paying 120 million. If the player flops and they lose that money as a rival, that's funny. But Liverpool acting like a big club is sobering. Man United being able to get players because they're still able to pay them the going rate is a positive for United and a negative for rivals. It isn't to be weaponized against us. That, again, I think it's just intellectually disingenuous to say that. I really do. Liverpool are acting like a big club, and it's a very, very good thing indeed. I agree with you. Let's have a look at some more of your comments here. Šeško is a B-Tech Nunes, and I think he's better than him. He really is. Cunha, Mbeumo, Gyokeres will make Man United a top 6 team again next season, Terry. Still more needed. There'll still be a lot more needed than that, in my personal opinion, but it will go a long way to helping us. It'll go a very, very long way to helping us. Thank you, Henry, for asking everyone to hit the like button. Big up yourself, closing in on 50,000 subs. Well done to you. Appreciate that, mate. Be good to see you back on the show again soon. It really, really will. Going to go to some calls in a minute. We've got Zach and we've got Matt backstage coming on to have their say. Let's do some more comments here. I hope Mbeumo goes to United, but if he doesn't, I won't be bothered. I think he is going to go United. Sometimes I look at how Martinelli and Havertz run behind the defense by Odegaard passes backwards. We should have gone for Gyökeres. Even if we sign the striker, we have a problem. I hear you on that. Back with another super chat here from Steve, who says, I think Isak could be the big one next summer. Listen, you could afford him this summer as well, if we're being honest. We added it up the other day. We can do it again now. Let's just do the maths on this. So let's say you pay 126, the full amount that's being quoted for Wirtz. It was 25 million for Frimpong. It's 40 million for Gyökeres. That's 191 million. Plus 150 for Isak. Let's just do the math. That comes in at 341 million. Now, there's been multiple teams in the Premier League, City being one of them, but Chelsea have done this, where they've spent more than that in the summer. What you've got to factor in is Liverpool didn't spend a penny last year. You divide that by 2 summers, that's 170 million pounds. It is not weird to spend 170 million pounds a summer being the size of Liverpool. It's doable. And by the way, if you did do it all this summer, you may not have to spend too much money the following summer because you're set. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility. And hear me out on my theory here. Hear my theory out. I'd love to get your opinions on this. If you get Gyökeres, if you get Frimpong, well, you've got him, and you line Wirtz, imagine then you walk up to Isak's camp and say, excuse me, look what we had. Look what we purchased. Now we want you. That could be a game changer, because suddenly you've got a team that's capable of winning everything. That could turn Isak's head. That's different from the train of thought and the discussions we were all having 3 months ago, which was, Liverpool could just go and buy Isak and they win the league again next year. They could. But imagine saying to him, you've got Wirtz behind you. Salah's done that new deal. You've got two of the best fullbacks, attacking fullbacks available coming in to whip those balls into you. Why would he not consider it? He very much would, in my personal opinion. It's an even bigger flex. It really, really is. But look, give me your views, give me your opinions. Starting the calls on the was it 35 million euros though? Frimpong. Maybe I got it wrong. Let's have a little look. 29 million pounds according to the BBC. So, okay, what did I say? So add 4 million. All right, let me add 4 million. It's still 100. It's still it's still not that much money, right? Let's minus that 4 million again, right? Times that by 2 plus 4 million. So we've gone from 341 to 345. We're nitpicking here. The point still remains. Let's go to the calls, people. We're going to get Zach on the line, first of all, to have his say with us. If you want to phone in, the link is pinned to our live chat. Would love to hear from you, especially the trolls. I'd love to hear from I'm a bit of an expert in trollology, and I'd like to hear from you. A couple of other super chats, actually, before we do that. Sorry. To be honest, do you feel Wirtz to Liverpool is like Coutinho? No, I don't. I mean, it could go that way. There's always a possibility, but I don't think that. Arsenal need 3 strikers. Watkins is the 3rd. They're not going to sign 3 strikers. And there's no need to spend money on 3 strikers when you've got Kai Havertz and Moreno that can play in those roles. There's just no point, because all you're going to create is disharmony. Imagine having a Watkins as 3rd choice, barely kicking a ball. You've got to think of the harmonious nature of a squad as well. I don't necessarily think that'd be the right approach. Who is City getting, and can I have a shout out? So a big shout out to yourself, Flex. And who is City getting? Well, we know that they've got Aït-Nouri tied down. They've got the Cherky deal that's going to happen. Reinders has already happened. Excellent summer. Let's see what else they do, but it's been an excellent summer so far. First on with me, we are speaking to Zach. Welcome to the show, Zach. Hello, mate.
Sorry.
Who do you support?
This is me from yesterday, same person.
Oh, lovely. Remind me, though, just in case of viewers.
Just Arsenal.
Arsenal, lovely. The reports this afternoon are you've agreed terms with Šeško and you're no longer developing the deal with Gyokeres. Thoughts on this, mate?
I was wondering that myself. I seen the title, but I came in late. So what happened? So what's going on with Šeško?
So Purple Panel have stated that you've agreed personal terms with him.
Yep.
Plattenberg has said you're really progressing hard now with the club-to-club talks. Fabrizio said the same, but also stated you are no longer developing the Gyokeres deal, which makes it sound like it's all eggs in the Šeško basket.
What's personal terms? Is that like wages and salary and whatnot?
Wages, squad status, etc. Yeah.
That's what the club wants. That's fine by me as long as it works. Type thing. Because if we bought Gyökeres and it didn't work, everyone would still complain. So, because we could buy Isak and he gets 2 goals, someone would still complain because we spent 140 million on him, type thing. So,
that's true. I mean, some Arsenal fans would complain. I think some will complain it when you win the league. They'll say, "Why did it take so long?" Like some Arsenal fans will just continue to moan because it's kind of their operating model to do that. But Šeško looking like it's going to move forward in that way. What would you want to, if and when that's done, what should be the next focus in your opinion? Who should that player be?
I like Rodrigo, but I don't see why we wouldn't buy him. Because it's apparently the links are coming back up, and he only wants 200k a week, and that's less than Havertz, isn't he? Isn't Havertz on 250?
Yes.
And is Rodrigo not like 1,000 times better than Havertz? Like,
I think he's a lot better personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, why not? And it's what is it, £80 million? Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, they're saying between sort of 70 to 90 million have been the different quotes from different media outlets. Yes.
So Rice was 105, and
yes,
Rodrigo is more attacking focused, and we need goals. So, and I feel like Rodrigo is cheaper wages than Nico Williams, and he's probably better long term because he's only 24.
Fair shout. No, listen, I hear you. Zach, thanks for calling in, mate. I appreciate it massively. Thank you, bro. Next on the show, we have Liam. What are you saying, Liam? Who do you support?
Hey, Terry, Man United.
Lovely.
Yeah, just listening in on the Osimehn news.
Yes,
I did. I called.
You called in the other day from your car. Yes, I heard. Yes, go for it, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know stress. The Osimehn news, very interesting. Just makes me think about how it's going to affect the market. How many clubs were looking for strikers that were thinking, this isn't even an option anymore. How's that going to set things up? Just for an example, I'm a United fan. They could be thinking, we were going for Gyokeres. Well, now Osimhen's opened up. Is obviously we would assume Ruben prefers Gyokeres, but maybe the club decides differently. I don't know who else. So maybe Juventus.
Yeah, let me ask you a question quickly on that. What if Man United had the choice, just for you as a United fan, if we could choose to go after Gyokeres or Osimhen, now that he is seemingly available again, who would you personally want the club to go for?
I would personally want the club to go for what Amrin wants, and to me that's Gyokeres. To me, it's the guy he knows, the guy he's worked with, the guy that already fits into the system.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I do agree with you. I would still go for Gyokeres slightly because of that. But Osimhen, for me, it's a player that I just think more clubs have got to be all over. Listen, as good as Šeško is, as good as Gyökeres is, Ekitike, these guys, I just think Victor Osimhen I think he's a game changer for anyone. I think he's a game changer. And listen, I mean, Liverpool could now be looking at a move at him because they want a striker as well. And it could be him and Wirtz for them because he's not that expensive. He's 75 million euros for a striker that I just think scored you 20 league goals as a bare minimum. That's 63 million pounds. It's not extortionate amounts of money,
Yeah, no, it's very similar to the Gyökeres gentleman's agreement. I think a lot's going to change with this news. There was one thing I wanted to ask you. It was about Ahmad playing on the right wing back. Mm-hmm. So maybe I've got this wrong, but modern football, it's about having a player that fits the role. Like our left backs have had left foots, left centre backs, left foots. Is it just me, or is Ahmad being shoehorned into this position because he plays on the right, but more as a right wing? But now we're going to be having two left-footed people in the 10 and in the right wing back with Ahmad on the left. If we have Mbeumo coming in per se, where at least on the left-hand side, which is an Amarin signing, is the left-footed Dorgu. Like, do you not feel like we're like the Dalot fits there better? So like bringing in all of these players, or is Ahmad gonna lose a spot? Is he gonna have to fight? What do you think?
He's gonna have to fight, and that's the right way for us to go. But if you go and watch some of the older, don't forget the Man United ones, but go and watch some of the older videos breaking down how Ruben likes to play, having highly fit, highly athletic, attacking fullbacks that can create the width, that can be used as a genuine part of the attack is how he wants to play. There's always a lot of banter around that. Oh, United start games with 5 defenders on the pitch, but that's because we don't yet have the quality of fullbacks, either from development or purchase, at the club that Amarim would want. So I don't necessarily think he's going to have a problem. The good thing about Ahmad is he can use that right foot. It's not as like Anthony that couldn't use his right foot for Toffee. He's able to use it. So I'm not too worried. I don't even think it's about shoehorning him either, because primarily the manager wants the team to be able to have a lot of the ball, so the fullbacks are predominantly attacking, as opposed to having to sit back in possession and have to be highly defensive. So I don't think in the long term there's not an issue. Also, look, we're signing Mbeumo. Hopefully that happens. Ahmad's going to fight for that role as well, and if Ahmad does a better job and Mbeumo's on the bench, so be it as well. For me, I want that competition. I want quality. It gives us more depth. So personally, mate, I'm very, very happy with that.
One more thing on that. Then, let's just hope it's not going to cause that back post problems that we've been seeing for the last how many years.
Yeah, well, that's the hope again. But if I like Ahmad, but if Ahmad downs tools because he's upset that he's got to fight for a place, then we know it. Then we know to sell him. The reason why we had those problems in the past is when players got disgruntled when they had to compete for a place and down tools. We used to pander to them rather than going, right, you're gone then. And if we'd have set that precedent early, we probably wouldn't have those issues now. Liam,
I meant the back post, like missing, when we don't defend the back post.
I misheard what you said. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I apologize.
But
Liam, top man, speak to you again soon. Thank you, bro. Matt's on the show with me now. What are you saying, Matt?
Hello, Terry. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. What's your thoughts on the Šeško news?
Yeah, look, it's quite interesting. I mean, purple panel. I'm not really sure what to think of him as a source.
He's better than yours that you put in the group chat. I tell you that.
But if if it's true, then that's great news. Because I'll expect this deal to be wrapped up hopefully next week. With all things going well. I had a couple of things I wanted to touch upon. Mbeumo to Man United. Look, I personally think that this will be done. I don't really think Tottenham were ever in for Mbeumo. I don't think he was ever wanting to join Tottenham. I'm not really sure why this has come around, and my only assumption of it is because of the frank news to Tottenham. But he's going to Man United. It's pretty obvious. And the worst news, wow. I mean, I didn't expect that second bid to get rejected. I thought that second bid was, it was done. But that is pretty interesting, because if I was Liverpool, I would be thinking pulling out and just stealing Turkey, because value for money. I mean, Turkey, very close to Wirtz, in my opinion. Very, very close. What are your thoughts on that?
I said it. I said it earlier. I said, look, it's something that if they feel like if they get to a point, Liverpool, where they feel like they're being striped up and they feel that, do you know what, 130 million is more than enough. It's something to visit, because they've made inquiries about him before. They have the ability to do, if they can turn Turkey's head enough, is they can offer more money than City have been prepared to offer so far. And I think that Leon would welcome it with open arms, because they would love a bidding war for the player, because it means they can whack the price up a little bit more. I don't think it will happen, though. I do think Liverpool will end up paying the 126 million for the player, but they should maybe look at it, because I don't think there's a great deal of difference between the two players in terms of overall impact on a team. The big difference is one is going to cost somewhere in the region of 90 million pounds more. So it's definitely something they should look at, Matt. Bro, I do
find really interesting very quickly, as well is that I'm really surprised that Wirtz hasn't exactly forced this transfer further, because if he was so set on joining Liverpool, surely he would be forcing this a lot more than
he doesn't need to force it though. He doesn't need to force it on the 8th of June.
I get that.
It's the 8th of June. He ain't got to force it yet.
That's true. That's true.
He hasn't got to force it right now. Matt, top man, thank you for coming on, bro. Appreciate it. Lamin, what you saying, bro? Long time no see.
Sure. Long time no speak, Terry. How you been?
I'm very well, my friend. I'm very, very well. What you here to say this afternoon, brother?
Yeah, there's been a lot of news about Chelsea happening. I don't even know what to believe anymore. You know, are we signing that goalkeeper or not? I just want to hate here we go so I can move on with my life, really. 1 minute is one news, next is another. I'm like, what's going on? I need to get Sanchez out of here. But I think we're gonna get that done. Um One thing I want to say, that German, that Hugo Ekitike, I don't want him.
Mm.
I'm just coming out straight. It's maybe not nothing to do with him, but I just don't trust the German league. After Havertz, Werner, and who's the other guy? Nkunku, I'm a little bit scared, I'm not going to lie. And from what I've seen, he's a bit of a transitional striker, and I don't think we need a transitional striker. We've had loads of those. And Chelsea, we play against low block teams for most of our matches, and I need someone that can hold the ball up, who's got intelligence as a striker. I haven't seen him play, so I could be just making up assumptions right now. But I know the type of striker that I want. Someone that's good in the air, can hold the ball up. But I don't think that Ekitike is the guy for us.
Well, Osimhen.
I don't know if you can
Now,
still hear me or
yeah, I can hear you.
my Wi-Fi gone.
Osimhen now available. Would you take him?
Hello?
I think it's your Wi-Fi, bruv. I think it's your Wi-Fi.
Oh, shit.
His Wi-Fi is gone. KJ's here with me now. What are you saying, brother?
Boy, big news on Osimhen. This guy is
Massive
a
news.
top striker, and we thought he was going to be off the market, and it was distorting. When I say distort, I don't mean now that Osimhen was potentially going for 75. Everyone
All
got
right, Phil.
75.
All right, Phil.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but I mean like it was narrowing down people's options for a striker. Now that he's not going to Saudi, it just puts another spanner in the works for everyone's striker options. So I don't know. Let's see. Man United are looking like they're gonna go all in for Gyökeres, which is fine. Obviously, there's a player that Ruben Amorim likes, Ruben Amorim knows, he fits the system. We know what we'll get out of him if he comes to the Premier League under Amorim. But I don't know, man. If I had the choice, Terry, you asked that caller, if you had a choice, who would you pick out of Osimhen and Gyökeres? I have to go with Osimhen. I have to go with Osimhen just because, one, I've seen him in the top 5 leagues deliver, win title. I've seen him in the Champions League a bit more than Gyökeres. And I think Osimhen has this ability where he can literally score goals out of nothing.
Mhm.
Like Gyökeres is good when he's on the run. He can make a goal happen by himself, right? But Osimhen could have the ball in the air. He will pluck it out the air. He will do a turn and score, or he'll shoot at a mad angle or score, or he will joggle the ball while muscling off defenders and score. And I've not seen a striker do that in a long time. He's one of the only strikers who could really, in the box, just make a goal happen out of needy anything. So that's why I'd want him in there, because I'm like, okay, he gives that extra boost for us inside the box, where we've seen Rasmus Højlund with half chances, just not taking them. Xerxes, he's not really there because he wants to be a half 9 and he's never in the right position. Osimhen will be there fighting, winning balls and scoring goals that he really shouldn't. And his heading ability. Terry, we've been crying out for someone who can head the ball in the box that isn't Harry Maguire. You know? His leap is insane. His heading ability is one of the best in the world. And that will be, again, another way for Man United to score goals outside of Harry Maguire at the end of a cross. So for me, I would pick Osimhen. How likely is it though? Not very, in my opinion. I still think we will go all in for Gyökeres. But if it was me, I'm taking that gamble. I'm switching targets, and I'm hopefully get Osimhen in the door.
I like Osimhen. I like him. I wouldn't mind him at United. I'd like him or Gyökeres. I mean, I feel like, beggars can't be choosers a little bit as well. But I hear you. I hear your opinion there. I want to add Chris, who's backstage, because Chris was shaking his head while she was saying all of that. I'm going to add Chris to the call with us. Chris, what did you want to say, my friend? Oh, you're on mute, bro.
So the Osimhen thing, not saying he's not a quality player, but I just think with him, I don't think he will fit Amorim's system. I think Gyökeres won't fit Amorim's system because you say in the box. Gyökeres doesn't just stay in the box. He goes wide, he goes left, he goes right, cuts inside. I don't see Osimhen doing that. I think that's Well, and we talk about headers. We don't even have the proper wing backs that put crosses in. So who's going to cross the ball for Osimhen? So in order for Osimhen to get headers, we need people who can cross the ball. And that's why I'm saying, if you notice with Amarin at Sporting, Gyökeres, most of his goals is like through the middle, like on the floor. Not he doesn't score a header. So I'm just thinking that in order for us to like get a proper number 9, I think Gyökeres will be the right choice. Osimhen, to me, also got attitude, and you have to look at this salary. How much is he going to what? He's not going to like leave from what 200,000 or 250,000 to like what? How much is he earning right now? I think like 250,000 a week.
He's earning a good salary right now. Yeah.
So he's not going to. I mean, how much we're going to pay him? 300,000. I thought we want to change the wage bills at the club. So in my opinion, he would be a good number 9 for us, but I don't think we have the players right now to accommodate a number 9 like Osimhen. Also, with wing backs, Amarin doesn't play with like right backs. He plays with wingers, and we ain't got wingers playing. So Amarin would need like players like if I think Mbeumo to me would be a good like wing back playing for the Amarin system. And yeah, I just all I gotta say.
I appreciate
I don't think,
that.
yeah.
Chris, a great call, mate. Great points being raised there, Chris. Thank you for calling in, my friend. I appreciate it.
No problem. And nice to be on the show first time.
Thank you, brother. Great call. Great call. Thank you, my
peace.
friend. Thank you very much indeed. You being schooled there, KJ. You got schooled. I'm joking.
No, not really. Not really. Good challenge. Good challenge. But I think I want to raise a few counterpoints to what he said. First of all, I will agree with the wages situation with Osimhen. He would probably want a lot, probably more than Gyokeres. So that point, I think we can both agree on that one because we want to change the wage structure. Osimhen coming in straight at 350 or 300k, that's not going to help us. In terms of the crossing point they put in, which okay, I can understand why he would say that. But then at the same time, we've seen Dorgu put in plenty of crosses into the box this season, and he's only been here for half a season. And we see the struggles that he's had. We see Ahmad can put crosses in. We know we can put crosses in. Bruno Fernandes, he's called a ball spammer. He's called a spammer. Spamming balls, spamming crosses, spamming through balls. We know he can cross. The low can cross the ball. He mentioned Mbeumo to play as a wing back, who would also then cross the ball. So if we have Mbeumo on the pitch and Ahmad on the pitch, there's 2 guys I've just mentioned there that can cross the ball. So I think the crossing thing, I don't think would really be an issue. I think we've got enough players in the team to do that. And then on this, the second point of the movement of Osimehn and compared to Gyokeres, I've seen Osimehn go out wide, run down the channel on the right hand side, run down the channel left hand side. I've seen him take people on out wide, beat them and score goals. So again, I don't think there's necessarily a massive attribute difference between Gyokeres and Osimehn to say one would clearly work more than the other in the system. It'll just be all personal preference. Mine is just Osimehn, but I understand why Christopher himself would want Gyokeres instead. And one more thing for the crossing point: the team were crossing to Rasmus Højlund. I'm pretty sure why they stopped crossing, because they realized it's Rasmus Højlund.
There's that. I did see a compilation yesterday of a lot of Dorgu's crosses and balls across that 6-yard box, and I think Gyökeres and Osimhen's will be lapping those up. A few comments here. Šeško is going to be a Premier League winner 25-26 is what Mr. Yambo says here. This year from Pratt, who says, I hope Liverpool bid 115 plus 15 million add-ons for Wirtz and get him so they can banter City for missing out with their own numbers. Look, you're going to spend somewhere in that region to buy him. That is what is almost a guarantee here. Look, I want to thank...
There's one point that people are bringing up, just really quickly. The whole thing about if we sign Mbeumo, if we sign Osimhen, then we'd have too many players away for AFCON. And me personally, I'm tired of this point. Because if Man United, one of the top teams who want to be one of the top teams in the league, who can't handle some of the players going away for AFCON, then we shouldn't be considered a top team. You know, AFCON should not be an excuse to not sign good players. Like, we should really just, but yes, it could be a concern, but we've seen many teams deal with AFCON players going out for AFCON because it's been here for the longest time. So I don't see it as a reason not to sign a quality player that improves just because he might be away for a few games. Because AFCON, not all of the players will be away for AFCON up until the end, you know? And how many games would they really miss? The AFCON is from the 21st of December to the 18th of January. Now, you probably could do research better and quicker than me, Terry, but I don't think we're going to be missing so many games that, like, oh, if they're not there, our whole season's going to collapse because everyone went to AFCON. You know, I don't believe that's an excuse not to sign anyone. So
I hear you on that. Listen, viewers, give us your opinions in the comment section below. You did a live chat, but I would love to see you guys come back and write some comments once the video kind of re-uploads itself. Aside from that, we're back tomorrow morning, straight facts, 10:30 UK time. This video is going to redirect you to it. So go and get that bookmarked and liked now, so that you're ready for that show tomorrow morning. It's going to be a big one. We've got Jamie back on the channel. Listen, until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.